Ladies and gentlemen, I am the one and only DJ Storms! And I would like to welcome each and every single one of you back here to the channel on YouTube.com. As of course, you already know who I am, Mr. Controversy, and the operator of the best damn Twitter handle known to mankind. This is the Lighting Flash update for July 5th, 2019. I hope everyone had a great 4th of July. I hope you had a lot of good hamburgers, a lot of good hot dogs, a lot of good barbecue ribs if you're into that. We're not going to waste any time because we got a lot to talk about here on the Lightning Flash update. I have a lot of news for you. But first things first, we're starting off the Lightning Flash update with the weekly show reviews. And let me tell you something. The amount of idiocy that litters this community is absolutely astonishing. It really is. It really is. I take a look on Twitter, and I see thousands upon thousands upon thousands of tweets praising Monday Night Raw. What did Monday Night Raw do differently outside of the explosion segment with Bobby Lashley and Braun Strowman and a heel turn by AJ Styles? Outside of those two segments, Monday Night Raw was the same old formulaic, generic shit that we've seen every single week for the past God knows how many years. There was actually a technical difficulty in the beginning of the show where they actually spoiled the Street Profits debut. And the Street Profits didn't even fucking do anything. They just littered around backstage or loitered around backstage and cut cringy promos. They didn't even wrestle. They just looked pretty with the NXT tag team titles and just danced around and did their signature shtick. Falls Count Anywhere match with Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley. This was actually the best part of the show. It ended in a no contest because Bobby Lashley, he suplexed Braun on the stage, close 2 count there. Bobby Lashley was admiring his handiwork, and Braun Strowman, like a freight train, shoulder tackled Bobby Lashley through the stage, and we had, like, all this pyro going off. Graves said, "Holy shit," and they were both taken away in an ambulance. It was a great open. It was a great open. I'm not going to deny that. It was a great open, and I give props to WWE for doing that open. But at the end of the day, you know, one good open doesn't make a good show. Show was fucking horrible. From that, we went into a tag team match with the Viking Raiders and the New Day, and this is what really pisses me off. You had Samoa Joe attack Xavier Woods and Big E, only for Kofi to come out and lead into a 6-man tag. This is all part of that agenda because there's no wrestling during the commercials. When in reality, you have two simple answers. You have two simple answers instead of stopping a match and then restarting a match when the commercial comes back, or doing a 2 out of 3 falls match or an elimination match. You have a simple strategy. You could either do rest holds during the commercial break, or how about this? How about you reduce the amount of fucking commercials on the show? I feel like we get more commercials more than anything on Raw and Smackdown. It's really not that hard. Viking Raiders and Samoa Joe defeated the New Day. Who cares? Samoa Joe choked out Kofi Kingston. You know what that means? Samoa Joe's not winning at Extreme Rules. That's all it means. Same old generic garbage. Drake Maverick and R-Truth with the usual shenanigans as Drake took his wife to Monday Night Raw before they went on their honeymoon. This 24/7 title bullshit, I swear to God, it gets worse and worse and worse every single week. I'm going to say this once again. I'm going to continue to say this. I will take this to the grave. If you support the 24/7 championship in any way, shape, or form, you do not deserve to be anywhere near wrestling-related material. Find a new fucking hobby, because this shit ain't for you. You cannot defend and you cannot support such trash. And if you do, you're the fucking problem. You're the fucking problem. I'm sorry. Cesaro then just brutalized No Way Jose, and then the Street Profits cut a promo backstage. Street Profits cut a 2-minute promo backstage that ended up amounting to absolutely nothing. Then they jumped in on Paul Heyman's promo, and they did a little shtick with Paul Heyman. Who cares? Shane McMahon and Drew McIntyre again. Wow, we get Shane McMahon and Drew McIntyre here, and then we get it to start off SmackDown. Wow. Who gives a fuck? Undertaker comes out, cuts the same old, boring, generic promo that we've seen The Undertaker do thousands of times before. His appeal is lost. The guy needs to retire already. Let the guy do what he wants. Let the guy relax. Focus on your current talent that you have on the roster instead of constantly calling upon legends from the past just to try and generate ratings and interest. I've said this before. How pathetic is it that WWE needs to call upon The Undertaker to generate interest and tickets for a pay-per-view like Extreme Rules? And oh my god, don't even get me fucking started on what I saw on Instagram the other day. I swear to God, I saw a fucking advertisement for Baron Corbin versus The Undertaker in a casket match at SummerSlam. If that's the fucking case, you might as well not even have SummerSlam. You might as well not even have it. Lacey Evans defeated Natalya. Who gives a fuck? The club tried to cause tension between Styles and Ricochet by kind of baiting in AJ Styles and kind of, trying to twist around Ricochet's words. It caused Styles to go up to Ricochet, slap him. Ricochet slapped him back, and we got a U.S. title match later tonight. And by the way, which was absolutely fucking awful. The way that they are handling this no wrestling versus or over commercials deal, it is absolutely fucking terrible. Miz defeated Elias in a 2 out of 3 falls match. What was the difference between this match and the one that we saw on SmackDown? Oh yeah, Shane didn't get involved. Who cares? Mike and Maria Kanellis interrupted Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins. Now, I have no problem with superstars from 205 Live going on Monday Night Raw and SmackDown Live and mixing it up. Matter of fact, I encourage it. But the way that they went about this was probably one of the worst segments since Bayley, This Is Your Life, with Alexa Bliss and Bayley. This led to a mixed tag match. Rollins just threw Mike Kanellis around for a little bit, tagged in Maria, and when Becky tried to attack Maria announced that she was pregnant with their second child. And Mike was like, whoa, how are you pregnant? And Maria's like, I don't know, I didn't think you were man enough to get me pregnant. So Becky Lynch ended up tapping out Mike Kanellis. And Maria goes, I can't believe you're the father of my children. Becky calls herself the man. Maybe next time I'll ask Becky to impregnate me. It was probably the worst segment. I'm telling you, the worst segment since Bayley, This Is Your Life. Utter burial and utter poor treatment of a guy like Mike Kanellis. And Mike Kanellis is actually a great talent. A great talent. He's very underrated in the ring. He's put on some great matches on 205 Live. This is what Vince McMahon thinks of him. This is what Vince McMahon thinks of the guy. Having his own wife go out there and say, I can't believe you're the father of my children. Next time I'll ask Becky to impregnate me. If anyone found anything enjoyable about this segment, you gotta get your fucking head checked. You've really gotta get your fucking head checked. I don't know what the fuck is wrong with some people in the wrestling community, but the fact that people tried to justify this show, including this segment, shows you how little intelligence they possess. How little common sense they really have. Absolutely fucking pitiful. Absolutely pitiful. Moment of wish. I didn't have to watch this segment. Moment of piss. Moment of bliss. Whatever the fuck you want to call it. I can't even remember how many times we've had a fucking moment of bliss every single week on Raw. Nikki Cross was the host because Alexa Bliss graciously granted her the opportunity to host it. Nikki Cross had Carmella tried to come out and... Oh, no, I'm sorry. Nikki Cross hosted a Moment of Bliss on SmackDown. Nikki Cross was the guest on a Moment of Bliss here. But then again, who the fuck cares? I don't even remember what I had for fucking breakfast this morning. So how do you expect me to remember this shit? Especially when it's Raw and SmackDown. You really expect me to remember what took place on Raw and who was the guest on SmackDown and who was the host on Raw? What the fuck? Alexa Bliss hosted a Moment of Bliss with Nikki Cross. Carmella came out, tried to drive a wedge between the two, saying, why is Alexa getting the title shot and Nikki's doing all the work here? Mella challenged Bliss to a match. Mella rolled up Alexa within seconds. And then we had a commercial break. And then we had a 3-minute match with Nikki Cross and Carmella, where Nikki Cross defeated Carmella. So they're making Nikki Cross the person here that's doing all the work. Meanwhile, Alexa is getting all the glory. Drake Maverick defeated R-Truth to win the 24/7 title in the backstage area. Who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck? R-Truth is the only thing that's making this title and concept enjoyable. If you actually find anything enjoyable outside of R-Truth, because R-Truth is great in his own right. R-Truth is really comedy done right. But this 24/7 title, if you find anything enjoyable about this, my God, your standards must be very low. Your standards must be very low. I see some people like, oh, well, I watch WWE for the entertainment and the comedy. Oh, if you want comedy, go and watch Jeff Dunham's special on Showtime Comedy. Go watch Comedy Central. Go watch Key and Peele. AJ Styles won the 24/7 title. AJ Styles won the 24/7 title. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. At this rate, he might as well win the 24/7 title because all of WWE's championships are just as worthless as the 24/7 title. Motherfucker, man. AJ won the U.S. title, but Ricochet's foot was underneath the bottom rope. And this was, again, part of the no wrestling during the commercials agenda. AJ Styles defeated Ricochet within a minute. And they had to restart the match. The match came back, and it was only 3 minutes. A 3-minute U.S. title match between Ricochet and AJ Styles that led Ricochet to roll up AJ for the win, and then Styles turned heel. Styles clashed from the second rope, a magic killer, and then they both stood and did their too sweet gesture while Ricochet was just laying there in a pile of his own rubble, so to speak. AJ Styles was just left there for dead. Or excuse me, Ricochet was left there for dead. Stuttering over my words. I'm saying the wrong thing. This is what WWE does to me. And once again, I'm fucking sweating. I'm fucking sweating when talking about a wrestling program. I think that has to do with the fact that I'm wearing a black shirt, but who the fuck cares at this rate? Jesus. I really don't understand. And the fact that they've been in the ring now twice, it has taken away all the specialness. It's taken away all the specialness, so if they have a matchup at Extreme Rules, it's really not going to feel that special. Even if it is a great match, which I assume it's going to be a great match. Unfucking believable. You know, I seen some tweet. I can't remember what it was, but I seen some tweet of some fucking moron saying, "Oh, we should all just try and understand the way that some people watch wrestling in 2019. I don't know. You saying some people watch it as a play, some people watch it as a reality show, some people watch it as a sport. Wrestling is a fucking sport in 2019. If you want reality television show, go and fucking watch Total Bellas on the E! Network. Go and watch Keeping Up with the Kardashians. If you want to play, go and watch the latest screening of Hamilton on Broadway. Go and watch A Midsummer Night's Dream. Go watch the Peanuts Gallery play. Go laugh your ass off over Snoopy and Woodstock. Wrestling's a sport. If you're not going to treat it as such, get the fuck out of the community. A play. Fucking idiots. Seriously, go watch the Peanuts play. In conclusion, translation: Raw sucked! Moving on. Smackdown wasn't as bad as Raw, but it still doesn't mean it was a good show. Kevin Owens show with Shane McMahon and Drew McIntyre. 20 minutes wasted on Shane McMahon and Drew McIntyre. Again. And Shane McMahon made a no-holds-barred tag team match for his match. His match with The Undertaker and Roman Reigns, teaming with Drew McIntyre, is now a no-holds-barred match. Oh, by the way, I almost forgot. Typical WWE. Did you notice what WWE did? They placed a no-holds-barred stipulation on this match and an Extreme Rules stipulation on the mixed tag team match for both the Raw Women's and Universal Championships. How typical is it? How typical is it by WWE to do this? WWE does the same old formulaic, generic garbage that they always do. They take the two least interesting matches that is on Extreme Rules card, the two matches that no one with a sense of common sense actually gives a shit about, and they place stipulations on it to try and raise the interest. Typical WWE. Trying to raise the interest, meanwhile, all the other matches that people actually give a shit about are not going to have any stipulations whatsoever. Shocking. Kevin Owens obviously tried to get smart with Shane McMahon, asking, how did it feel to lose to The Undertaker after making a grand return? Ziggler actually came out. I want to know, why is Dolph Ziggler even still vying for any championship? Dolph Ziggler isn't even worth vying for the 24/7 championship. Kevin Owens ended up roasting Dolph Ziggler, saying, he started yelling, saying, I don't want to hear you come out here saying it should have been you, it should have been me, it should have been you. It was kind of you 8 years ago, and then it wasn't, and it's never going to be you, so get over it. So a tag team match was made later on that night. It was Heavy Machinery versus Ziggler and Owens, and the winner will be added into the Smackdown Live tag team title match. Here's what I want to know. Why is Dolph Ziggler even teaming with Kevin Owens in the first place? Why is Kevin Owens acting like a babyface when he was a heel just a week ago, teaming with Sami Zayn? And let me tell you something. I love Heavy Machinery. Heavy Machinery is great at what they do. I have no problem with the New Day because they're great in the ring. But why are the New Day and Heavy Machinery getting a title opportunity? Meanwhile, Heavy Machinery lost at Stomping Grounds, and Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn beat the New Day. Why aren't Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn getting a title opportunity? They're the only team out of the three teams that I just mentioned that have been on a winning streak. Speaking of the New Day, Daniel Bryan defeated Big E. Kick off the show. Big E did his generic belly-to-belly suplexes. We had Daniel Bryan doing the yes kicks. Big E did the big splash. We had Daniel Bryan hitting the running knee on Big E for the win. And that was pretty much it. Generic match between the two. Moment of piss, moment of wish, moment of bliss, whatever the fuck you want to call it. This time, Nikki Cross was the host. And I got it right this time. Nikki Cross was the host on SmackDown. She was the guest on Raw. But at this rate, you can't blame me. You really can't blame me if I forgot who was the host and who was the guest on either show. It's pretty much the same fucking thing. Bayley was Nikki Cross's guest. We had Nikki Cross, once again, in the middle of this all, with Bayley trying to get under Nikki Cross's skin, just like Carmella was doing, just like I'm assuming they're going to have somebody else do next week with Nikki Cross, saying, oh, you're doing all the work, but Alexa Bliss is taking all the glory. Most likely it's gonna lead to Nikki Cross turning on Alexa Bliss. My friend Tyson actually pitched that Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss are going to have an undercard match on SummerSlam. Listen, I get that it would make sense, but Nikki Cross is worth so much more than fucking Alexa Bliss. Alexa Bliss is a poor fucking excuse for a women's wrestler that doesn't belong anywhere near a professional wrestling ring. She is worse than Nikki Bella. She's worse than Nia. She's just as worse as Nia Jax. Nia Jax is one of the worst. Alexa Bliss is right there. Alexa Bliss is absolutely fucking worthless. She's worthless. She'd be better off in a manager role, even if her promos are cringy and repetitive. Nikki Cross is worth so much more than a woman who can't wrestle herself out of a paper bag. Just saying. Bayley defeated Nikki Cross. Who cares? We had a face-to-face confrontation with Kofi Kingston and Samoa Joe. This was actually a very good segment, and this was actually one of the segments on the show that I actually enjoyed. Kofi was basically saying the same thing that, he's always said. I defeated Kevin Owens by myself. I defeated Dolph Ziggler by myself. I defeated Daniel Bryan for the WWE title by myself. And I'm going to defeat you by myself at Extreme Rules. What have you really done around here? Except lose the U.S. title to Ricochet. Joe is obviously getting under Kofi's skin, saying that Kofi uses people. And then Joe goes, I'm going to extend an offer to you. Well, actually, before he extended the offer, Kofi goes, what happened to the Samoa Joe of old? Now we see Samoa Joe creeping up behind people and trying to play hide and seek. Meanwhile, your ass is too big to be playing hide and seek. Joe basically said, I'm going to make you an offer that everything that you hold dear will be safe until Extreme Rules. And all you got to do is shake my hand. Are you the man that you pretend to be? And obviously, Samoa Joe's great at what he fucking does. Samoa Joe is absolutely fucking great on the mic. Samoa Joe really makes you believe and really makes you listen when he's talking on the mic. And Kofi, he goes to shake Joe's hand, and then he's looking down at his hand and he starts smiling. He puts his hand up, and he flips the bird. And Samoa Joe is like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And Kofi Kingston, it's trouble in paradise on Joe. And Kofi Kingston stands tall. Is this going to be a good match at Extreme Rules? Yeah, it is. But do you really think that WWE is going to do the right thing and give the title to Joe? Even though he deserves it? He deserves it, and even though he's done nothing to earn it, because he was just placed in a match just by attacking Kofi Kingston. Yeah, he hasn't earned a damn thing, but he sure as hell deserves the WWE Championship for all the work that he's put in. Are they going to give it to him? No. I doubt it. I doubt that they would take the title off of Kofi going into SummerSlam. I doubt it. Anyway, we had a match between Andrade and Apollo Crews. This was actually a decent match for what they put on. I want to see more of Apollo Crews. I think Apollo Crews would be fucking great in the mid-card on Smackdown Live. I would love to see Apollo Crews mix it up with Finn Balor. Why not Finn Balor go out there and do an open challenge? Have Apollo Crews answer. Get Apollo Crews some TV time. What's so hard about that? Why is it that Finn Balor hasn't had a match on SmackDown in almost 2 months? It's because this fucking wild card rule and Shane McMahon. They're already taking up enough time. But this is actually a decent match for what they put on. Apollo Crews with the moonsault off the apron. We had Apollo Crews doing what Apollo Crews does. We had the clotheslines, the kip-ups. We had an enziguri and a military press into the moonsault by Apollo Crews. Zelina Vega got involved, hit a Hurricane Rana to Apollo Crews right into the announce table. Andrade threw Apollo Crews back into the ring, and Andrade hit the Hammerlock DDT for the win on Apollo Crews. And that was pretty much that. Decent match for what it was. Aleister Black cut a promo backstage basically saying that he will be waiting at Extreme Rules for the person who knocked on his door, because the person who knocked on his door was not there. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do with Aleister Black going into Extreme Rules and then SummerSlam, because this is Aleister Black's first match on SmackDown Live since he got drafted to SmackDown Live. So, pretty interesting to see how that's going to play out. Ember Moon defeated Mandy Rose in a 2-minute match. 2-minute match, who cares? Ember Moon got the win. That's the best part about this. Shelton Benjamin had an awkward segment backstage. I don't know what the fuck they were doing here, but he was asked who's going to win the WWE Championship match at Elimination Chamber, at Extreme Rules, and Shelton Benjamin just started looking around, and then he started smiling for some reason, and then he walked off screen. I don't know what the fuck that was all about, but that was completely unnecessary. I don't even know where they're going with this, and I don't really even fucking care, because Shelton Benjamin has pretty much been ruined in his own right by not even being used. We had Heavy Machinery versus Ziggler and Owens. Bryan and Rowan were actually ejected from ringside. Bryan and Rowan were ejected from ringside after they started attacking the New Day, and Rowan hit the Iron Claw to Xavier through the table. Heavy Machinery ended up defeating Ziggler and Owens So it's going to be Heavy Machinery versus New Day versus Bryan and Rowan at Extreme Rules or Extreme Tools for the Smackdown Live Tag Team titles. Then afterwards, Kevin Owens hit the stunner on Dolph Ziggler, started saying, "It's my show, it's my show." Stick around till the end. I actually got news on Kevin Owens as well as Gallows and Anderson as to what's going on with them and why Kevin Owens is going forth with this quote-unquote babyface turn. Anyway, 205 Live. This was actually a good show for what it was. It did what it needed to do. It progressed some storylines. We had the Lucha House Party versus the Singh Brothers Tornado Tag Team match. This was a good match for what it was. It only went about 10 minutes. But for the 10 minutes that it went, it was a good match. We had some double team action by the Singh Brothers. They hit that Bollywood blast, that backbreaker elbow drop combination, which is actually a pretty decent looking move. We had that. We then had Lince Dorado and Gran Metalik. They did opposite dives to the outside. Gran Metalik did the dive to Sunil on the ramp, and then Lince Dorado did the dive to Samir by the announce table. They then threw him back in the ring. They were going for double springboards, and the Singh Brothers caught him with super kicks. They ended up kicking out. Towards the end of this thing, the Lucha House Party, Lince Dorado and Gran Metalik had them both down, and they did their patented double dives. Gran Metalik did the tightrope elbow drop. Lince Dorado did the shooting star press. And 1, 2, 3, the Lucha House Party defeated the Singh Brothers in a good Tornado Tag Team match to kick off the show. Then in the main event, it was only a 2-match show. We had Nice, Gallagher, and Lorcan versus Gulak, Kanellis, and Daivari. By the way, Gulak looks like a motherfucking beast with the Cruiserweight title around his waist. He looks like an absolute beast. No more robe, no more American tights. Black tights, long hair, slick back, just looking like an absolute beast. I fucking love the way that Drew Gulak has been presenting himself. This is a good 6-man tag for what it was. Mike Kanellis was wearing down Jack Gallagher towards the beginning of this match. It was Gallagher and Lorcan that was on the receiving end of a lot of damage in the beginning of this match. Tony Nese was on the apron. Tony Nese was able to get the tag. Gulak shoved Tony Nese out of the ring as Tony was going for a springboard moonsault, and Tony Nese landed on the field outside. That was actually a nice spot there. Later on in the match, Oney Lorcan ended up getting a hot tag. And Oney Lorcan did a huge suicide dive over the top, taking out Gallagher, Kanellis, and Daivari. Then Tony Nese did, not Gallagher, I'm sorry, took out Gulak, Daivari, and Kanellis on the outside. That was Oney Lorcan's Tope Con Hero. Then we had Tony Nese do a huge Fosby flop over the top rope, and that took out the field. And then Jack Gallagher brought out his trusty umbrella, William, and he did his dive to the outside. Gallagher then threw Kanellis back into the ring and hit a huge reverse diving headbutt. Towards the end of this thing, Tony Nese got the tag. It was absolute chaos. Towards the end of this thing, Tony Nese ended up hitting the Deadeye. I don't know what he calls it. I think it's like a dude buster. I think they call it the Dude Buster, I believe. It's like a reverse pile driver or something like that. It's like an inverted pile driver, but I know that Hangman Page calls it the Deadeye, so I'll just call it the Deadeye. So he hit the Deadeye, and Tony Nese got the 1, 2, 3 on Mike Kanellis for the win in this good tag team match. And then immediately afterwards, Gulak just drop-kicked the shit out of Tony, and we just got into an all-out brawl. There was a point in this match where, during the match, Daivari and Lorcan ended up going to the back and fighting, and then they ended up coming back, and it was just pure chaos. Gallagher was fighting Kanellis, Daivari was fighting Lorcan, Nese was fighting Gulak, and it was just pure bedlam. They were throwing each other into the barricade, into the steps, into the announce table, into the LED board on the stage. It was just absolute chaos, and that's how 205 Live ended. Chaotic way to end 205 Live. It was a good episode for what it was. Progressed storylines. I'm looking forward to Drew Gulak versus Tony Nese at Extreme Rules for sure. NXT UK. This is actually a very good episode of NXT UK. If you want to go back and watch this, I would highly encourage you to do so. Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley came out and demanded that her and Piper Niven fight right now. She didn't want to wait till later. Piper Niven ran to the ring, and we immediately got the match started. Rhea Ripley was wearing down Piper Niven for the beginning portions of this match. She threw Piper Niven into the post. She had a nice drop kick on Piper Niven. She got the reverse cloverleaf. Piper Niven ended up fighting back. She hit a running drop kick, sent Rhea Ripley into the corner. Piper Niven started to gain momentum. Rhea Ripley went for the Riptide, but Piper Niven countered into a huge headbutt. A cannonball when Rhea Ripley was in the corner, but to her back. She wasn't seated in the corner. She was laying face first on the turnbuckle because Rhea Ripley, she actually went into the post as Piper Niven sidestepped the shoulder block. So then she hit a cannonball to Rhea Ripley's back and then hit the Michinoku driver, or the Piper driver, as she calls it. And Piper Niven defeats Rhea Ripley. Good match for what it was. And I think that they're actually going to fight a little bit more. I think we might get a possible no disqualification match between the two down the line. I would like to see that. I think it would be a very good match. And I can definitely see Piper Niven being the woman to face Toni Storm at NXT UK TakeOver Cardiff at the end of August, which is on the same day as All Out. We had a segment with Kenny Williams being interviewed, and Noam Dar actually attacked Kenny Williams and shoved his face in the mud, so obviously they're setting up a program between those two down the line. Ilya Dragunov is in action next week, as well as Toni Storm, as well as Gallus versus The Hunt and Dave Mastiff. Oh, by the way, speaking of the Hunt and Dave Mastiff and Gallus, I actually believe that Dave Mastiff and Joe Coffey is going to be a program going into NXT UK TakeOver Cardiff as a nice undercard match. You know Triple H is going to do whatever he can to make that show memorable. We had Alexander Wolf versus Jack Stars. Alexander Wolf defeated Jack Stars. You know, it's very weird. It's very weird seeing Alexander Wolf in professional wrestling boots and tights, because I'm so used to seeing him in that crazy-ass suit, that crazy-ass clown suit, so to speak, with Sanity. So it's going to take a little bit of time for me to get used to Alexander Wolf's new attire. Although I do love his pairing with Imperium. So Alexander Wolf was pretty much destroying Jack Stars the entire match. And Alexander Wolf hit a huge powerbomb on Jack Stars for the 1, 2, 3. Alexander Wolf gets his first win as a member of the NXT UK roster. Jazzy Gabbert just squashed 2 jobbers. I don't even remember their names, but Jazzy Gabbert just squashed 2 jobbers. Jazzy Gabbert's going to be a huge force to be reckoned with in the women's division. And I think Jazzy Gabbert is going to be built up to face off against Piper Niven in the near future when Piper Niven eventually becomes NXT UK Women's Champion. Cassius Ohno was interviewed, and he talked about the founding 5 of NXT UK. Talked about British Strong Style, talked about Wolfgang, and then he talked about Mark Andrews, the blonde-haired stepchild. And he talked about Mark Andrews being an embarrassment to British wrestling and called himself the best British wrestler in the world. So they're setting up a program with Mark Andrews and Cassius Ohno. Could end up going into NXT UK TakeOver Cardiff, and that would actually be a good match. Mark Andrews and Cassius Ohno. Not going to deny them there. Then in the main event, we had the Grizzled Young Veterans versus Mustache Mountain for the NXT UK Tag Team titles. This was actually turning into a great match. I was loving this match. We had The Grizzled Young Veterans were working on Trent Seven for the majority of this match. Trent Seven was getting beat down. Tagged to Tyler Bate, and Tyler Bate just started unloading on everyone. Tyler Bate, I believe we had Tyler Bate taking out both James Drake and Zach Gibson, and Tyler Bate did a huge dive over the top rope, taking out both men. Back in the ring, Trent Seven made the tag. Trent Seven was on the receiving end of a reverse cloverleaf, and then James Drake, he ran off the ropes as Zach Gibson had Trent Seven in a inverted cloverleaf. And he did a leapfrog over Zach Gibson and did a leg drop to the back of Trent Seven's neck. So that's some great tag team work by the Grizzled Young Veterans. The Grizzled Young Veterans are always modifying their style, and they're really impressing me. And you can see why they are the NXT UK Tag Team Champions. You can see why Triple H gifted them the NXT UK Tag Team titles for the very first time back in January, because they are just that good at what they do. So towards the end of this match, we had a huge maneuver here. We had Trent Seven hitting a power slam on James Drake. Then we had Tyler Bate hit a bop and bang on Zach Gibson when Zach Gibson was on the middle rope going back and forth with Tyler Bate. We had Trent Seven hold Zach Gibson up in a burning hammer position. Tyler Bate stepped on Zach Gibson and did a huge headbutt to James Drake off of Zach Gibson while Zach Gibson was on the shoulders of Trent Seven. And then Trent Seven threw Zach Gibson onto James Drake in a burning hammer. I thought that was it. 1, 2, Gibson kicked out. They were going to go for something else. I believe they were going for that burning hammer knee drop combination. But out of nowhere, Imperium attacked both teams. We had a power bomb to Bate twice on the apron by Walter. And then we had the rest of Imperium. They handcuffed Trent Seven to the turnbuckle and made him watch as Walter powerbombed Tyler Bate right into the post. This is actually huge. And I was originally under the impression that Mustache Mountain were going to lose this match, and they're going to build up Mustache Mountain again to face off against the Grizzled Young Veterans at NXT UK TakeOver Cardiff. And I thought that Mustache Mountain were going to become the second ever NXT UK Tag Team Champions. But based on this, I don't think they're going to do that. I actually can see them doing a triple threat tag team match at NXT UK TakeOver Cardiff between the Grizzled Young Veterans, Mustache Mountain, and Fabian Eichner and Marcel Bartel of Imperium. I think that they're going to have Imperium do a huge takeover of NXT UK. Walter's already the UK champion. He's not losing that title anytime soon. Why not put the titles on Fabian Eichner and Marcel Bartel? Why not have Fabian Eichner and Marcel Bartel be the second ever NXT UK Tag Team Champions and have Imperium rule over NXT UK? I think that's what they're going to do. I think we're going to have Imperium, Mustache Mountain, and the Grizzled Young Veterans for the NXT UK Tag Team titles at NXT UK TakeOver Cardiff. And I think that Imperium are going to become NXT UK Tag Team Champions. I really don't see anything else happening. If they wanted to introduce a mid-card title, I think that they're probably going to give that to Alexander Wolf. But they could institute the Freebird rule, and they could have Alexander Wolf defend the titles with Fabian Eichner and Marcel Bartel. Freebird rule. They could do that. But I actually think that this is a fucking great idea. Imperium, them being built up as monster heels, it's only going to make it that much more special when Mustache Mountain eventually defeats them for the tag team titles, and Mustache Mountain wins the tag team titles for the first time. But overall, very good episode of NXT UK. I cannot wait to see what's to come going into the last month of the summer and going into NXT UK TakeOver Cardiff. NXT was a great fucking episode. We had a lot of shit happening on this episode. We had Mia Yim versus Aaliyah to start off the show. This only went about 5 minutes. Aaliyah is actually showing off a lot of athleticism here. The enziguris, the kip-ups. So, Aaliyah's slowly coming along. I'll give her credit there. Aaliyah's slowly coming along. We had Mia Yim doing whatever she can to come back here. Mia Yim hit the suicide dive on the outside, took out both Vanessa Bourne and Aaliyah, and then she hit Protect Your Neck. And Mia Yim defeated Aaliyah in a decent match for what it was. Then she went to the commentary booth and says that she's coming to whoop Shayna Baszler's ass. So obviously leading towards the announcement of Yim and Baszler for the NXT Women's Championship at NXT TakeOver Toronto 2. The Street Profits versus Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch for the NXT Tag Team titles are set for next week. This is the Street Profits' first title defense. So I am very much looking forward to this match. This is going to be huge. And again, I will state, I fucking love that Oney Lorcan is getting these opportunities as a member of 205 Live and as a member of NXT. I really wish that WWE would really utilize that correctly. Utilize the sense of a person appearing on both brands correctly. Triple H is utilizing it correctly because he's giving Oney Lorcan, he's making him special. Oney Lorcan feels special. He feels special on 205 Live. He feels special on NXT because he's one of the only few people that's going back and forth between 205 Live and NXT. Meanwhile, you got every single fucking person going back and forth between Raw and SmackDown with this fucking wild card rule. Give me a sense of specialness. Seriously. This was actually my favorite part. What happened next was my favorite part of the entire fucking show. Adam Cole's NXT Championship Celebration Tour. The guy visited Johnny Gargano's father in his pizzeria. I believe his name was Frank Gargano. He visited Frank Gargano in his pizzeria. And he's like, yeah, I placed an order for 4 pizzas. You know, you have no idea how happy you're going to make a lot of these wrestlers. You're really going to make a lot of people happy, Frank. And while he was going to get the pizzas, he leaves a picture of himself with the NXT Championship, and it says, to Frank, a champion you can be proud of, and he leaves it on the Wall of Fame where Johnny Gargano's accomplishments are. And he goes, here you go, keep the change. And he takes the pizza and go, oh, by the way, Frank, I love the Wall of Fame you got up there. Just so Frank could see the picture as Adam Cole was walking out. I was fucking laughing my ass off the entire time. You know, Adam Cole, he just plays a prick so well. He plays a prick so well. I'm jealous. I really am jealous. I aspire to be as much of a prick as Adam Cole is. That's how good Adam Cole is. And what he did next was even better. He went to the same school, the same wrestling training school that Gargano went to in May when he was NXT champion to do an inspirational speech to people. And he's like, and Adam Cole's like, hey, can I have a minute of your time? I know Johnny Gargano, he came here and, you know, he pretty much lied to you. Adam Cole just being a dick. And he goes to this one doofus. I can't remember what his name was. I think his name was Quan or something like that. I don't know. But he says, do you really think that you could be NXT-champion? And then Quan goes, oh, yes, I can. And then Adam Cole goes, stop kidding yourself. These pizzas are here for a reason. Take a pizza, go to the couch, and just give up. And then someone goes, all right, Adam, I think they've heard enough. And Adam goes, okay, I'll leave. But a couple things. Get out of this school. Get out of this city. And I think he says, well, what was the third thing he said? I think he said, find yourself a new hero. He said, get out of the school, get out of the city, and find yourself a new hero. I fucking love this segment. I was laughing my ass off throughout this entire fucking segment. I cannot wait. Until we get Adam Cole versus Gargano 3. Fucking fantastic. We had Kushida tapping out a jobber in quick fashion. Obviously, Kushida gaining momentum here in NXT. Kushida still undefeated. First round match of the NXT Breakout Tournament. Cameron Grimes versus Isaiah Swerve Scott. This was a very good match. Not as good as the first round matchup, but this was a very good matchup. Isaiah Swerve Scott. I fucking love the fluidity in the ring by Isaiah Swerve Scott. Isaiah Swerve Scott, he has a very bright future. A very, very, very bright future here in NXT. I can't wait to see what Isaiah Swerve Scott brings to the table. There was a moment in this match where him and Cameron Grimes were on the outside. I believe he did a Fosby flop to the outside. He did a Fosby flop to the outside, threw Cameron Grimes back into the ring. And then Isaiah jumped back into the ring. He jumped back into the ring, did a roll through and a flatliner on Cameron Grimes. Looked beautiful. The fluidity and the slickness of Isaiah Swerve Scott, he's really going to be something. That was a close 2 count right there. Isaiah Swerve Scott, he was going for a big move, but Cameron Grimes countered into a huge powerbomb. A huge sit-out powerbomb. Looked brutal there. Towards the end of this thing, Isaiah Swerve Scott was called with a huge roundhouse kick from Cameron Grimes, and then Cameron Grimes threw him off the ropes into the double foot stomp right to the neck of Isaiah Swerve Scott. Looked brutal. Cameron Grimes defeats Isaiah Swerve Scott. Cameron Grimes advances in the NXT Breakout Tournament. Then we had Bianca Belair defeating a jobber, like only she can, because Bianca Belair is a fucking beast at what she does. And then in the main event, we had a very good match between Roderick Strong and Tyler Breeze. Tyler Breeze was able to gain the upper hand here with a straight jacket backbreaker on Roderick Strong. That move actually looks brutal. There's really no way that you can make that move look safe. That move looks painful no matter how you look at it. Roderick Strong hit a nice superplex on Tyler Breeze, close 2 count right there. Towards the end of this thing, Tyler Breeze hit the supermodel kick, but Roderick Strong kicked out. Then the Undisputed Era came out, and Roderick Strong was able to hit the End of Heartache on Tyler Breeze. Roderick Strong defeats Tyler Breeze. Very, very good match to cap off NXT, and Roderick Strong gains some momentum, and I'm assuming that Roderick Strong is going to be factored into the NXT North American Championship title picture down the line. But overall, very good episode of NXT. Next, here on the Lightning Flash Update, we got the news, rumors, and reports, and I got a lot. I got a lot to say about this. To start off the news, rumors, and reports section, my first report, I got an update on Lio Rush. Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer newsletter provided an update on Lio Rush earlier this week. He states, and I quote, "Regarding Lio Rush, who has disappeared, the response on the creative end is that nobody talks about him, and he's not someone being used. He's still under contract, but he has also removed all WWE mentions from his social media and has put up an address for taking dates," end quote. Based on this report, I can almost assure you, and I think that everyone can take this as almost a guarantee, that Lio Rush isn't coming back to WWE anytime soon. Based on this report, it's pretty much telling you, but not actually telling you, that Lio Rush is pretty much right now in the same position as Luke Harper. They're having Luke Harper just run his contract out, and then once Luke Harper's contract is up, Luke Harper he's gone. And Luke Harper can do whatever he wants. So they're pretty much holding Luke Harper hostage, and I believe they're doing the same thing with Lio Rush. They're doing the same thing with Lio Rush, and they're trying to prevent Lio Rush from going somewhere because they know the talent that Lio Rush possesses. Now, again, I've already stated my piece on the whole Lio Rush thing, but based on this report, Lio Rush hasn't been used since the Raw after WrestleMania. He hasn't been seen since the Raw after WrestleMania. He hasn't been used since the Raw after WrestleMania. He hasn't been mentioned in 3 months. If he hasn't been mentioned now, then it's almost pretty much a guarantee that he's not going to be mentioned anytime soon, unless something happens. Now, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going on backstage, but based on this report, it seems as though they're just having Lio Rush sit at home and do nothing, and once his contract is up, then he's going to be doing whatever he wants. He put up his address for dates, mainly because of the fact that he pretty much knows that he's done with the WWE. He knows. He knows he's done with the WWE. WWE doesn't want to use him. They haven't used him in 3 months, and once his contract is up, see you later, bye. I got an interesting report from Bryan Alvarez. Bryan Alvarez of Wrestling Observer Live stated that he has a very strong feeling that AEW will recognize parts of their television show that the fans hate, and they will not continue to feature them. They won't continue to push someone to the main event considering it as good heat. When the fans genuinely don't like someone, they are not going to push them. He actually used the Librarians as an example, since they did not get the best reaction on the AEW buy-in pre-show for Fyter Fest. He states, and I quote, "I can't say for sure, because I can't predict the future, but I do believe, I honest to God believe, that if you keep watching AEW, and you watch the weekly TV, if there is stuff on there that the fans don't like, whether it's the older fans, the AEW hardcores, the casual fans, they're not going to keep doing it. I firmly believe that. I do not believe this is a company like WWE that is going to fight with their fans like they know what they don't like and they don't care. They're going to make you like it. They're going to do the old. These fans don't know what they like. If you make it very clear that you don't like something, they're not going to do it. Again, I can't say for sure, but I believe that this Librarian stuff continues to get a backlash like it did during the pre-show on Saturday. You're not going to see the Librarians anymore. I don't think that if the Librarians get a backlash, then the Librarians are going to start main eventing shows because it's good heat. That's not going to happen here." End quote. Good. Good. And you know something? I find it ironic. I find it very ironic how I talked about this during the rewind for Fyter Fest on Monday. And now this just came out just a few days ago. But you know something? Good. 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 This is what AEW is supposed to be doing. AEW is supposed to be listening to their audience. And you know something? AEW knows what the fuck they're talking about. They know what the fuck they're talking about. Hell, even Chris Jericho, who worked for WWE, now he's signed to AEW, he even talked about Go Away Heat. AEW, they are not stupid. They realize Go Away Heat, and they're not going to be like WWE. They're not going to be like the fucking morons that run creative and be like, "Oh, these fans don't know what they like," or the fucking moronic fans on Twitter saying, "Oh, you fans don't know what they like." No, we know exactly what we like. We know exactly what we want. We know what's good, and we know what's bad. If this is the case for AEW, then AEW is going to continue remaining a success. This is what AEW needs to do. This Librarian shit, I said on the rewind for Fyter Fest. It was funny the first few times. It's not funny anymore. I have no problem with Leva Bates. I think Leva Bates is very good at what she does. I think Leva Bates is a very good wrestler. But if Leva Bates is going to be a focal point in All Elite Wrestling and the women's division, they need to get her a new character. The Librarian shit, it's not going to cut it. It's just not going to cut it. It's cringy. It's annoying. Hearing someone going shh all the time, it's going to make you want to pull your ears out. It's going to make you want to turn the television off. If this is the case, and I do hope it's the case, AEW is going to have a lot easier time booking the shows to a point where the fans are almost never going to complain. And you know something? Like I said, if AEW keeps this up, and WWE, you know for a fact that WWE is going to continue fighting with their fans. You know for a fact that WWE is going to continue to constantly just shit all over its audience. AEW, I have full confidence in them that they know that this is a two-way street. We give them our hard-earned money, and it is their job, it is their obligation to give us quality programming. And if they don't, we're going to complain. WWE thinks they're smart. And they're going to go off on tangents saying, "Oh, the fans don't know what they like. No, you're going to like this. No, you're going to like that." The more that WWE does that, the more fans they're going to lose, the more the ratings are going to go down, the more fans AEW will gain, and the more money WWE will start to lose. And the more money WWE starts to lose, the more money AEW will gain. AEW right now, if this is the case for AEW, then AEW is going to be prospering and flourishing very, very easily as we go into the fall of 2019 and as we go into the winter of 2020. My next report comes from PW Insider. According to PW Insider, it appears that Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson will indeed be staying with WWE. The report claims the deals offered by WWE have been accepted but not yet signed. So they agreed to the deals, but they have not yet signed the deals. But this would definitely explain their recent pairing with AJ Styles and the expected push to come. To be quite honest with you, I don't really know how I feel about that. I really was on the boat of Gallows and Anderson leaving, and I was really starting to develop a bit of a newfound respect for Gallows and Anderson, mainly because of the fact that they have been mistreated so much. That, why would anyone agree to stay? Have WWE really killed their passion that much? Has WWE really made them that complacent that they really only care about the money? That's the thing. Like, I understand the pairing with AJ Styles, and I believe that was kind of like a cheap trick to get him to stay. But do you honestly believe that they're actually going to give Gallows and Anderson what they're looking for? Do you really think they're actually going to give Gallows and Anderson the respect that they deserve? Do you actually think that they're going to give Gallows and Anderson something of substance with this new deal? Unless this ends with AJ Styles winning the Universal or the US title at SummerSlam and Gallows and Anderson winning the Raw Tag Team titles at SummerSlam, and all three of them have championship gold at the end of SummerSlam. Unless it ends like that, then this heel turn and this new deal signed by them is completely fucking meaningless. It's meaningless. And besides, what happens if they do win the titles? What happens after they lose the titles? Are they going to be there? Are they going to continue to remain a focal point in the tag team division? That's why do you think I don't want Sasha to come back to WWE? Why do you think I'm happy that the Revival are leaving? And they haven't signed a new deal yet. Why do you think I'm happy about that? It's because WWE constantly misusing talent, keeping them in catering, spitting in the face of their own talent. They've been spitting in the face of Gallows and Anderson since they came to WWE back in 2016. The only saving grace that Gallows and Anderson have is that 63-day reign as Raw Tag Team Champions that they had during the WrestleMania 33 season build. That's it. That's the only saving grace that Gallows and Anderson have in the WWE. Other than that, what do they have? Nothing. They have nothing. It really is pathetic. It really is pathetic. I don't really know how I feel about that, but I'm almost certain. I am almost certain that if the expected push to come is not a Raw Tag Team title reign and a huge domination storyline over Raw with AJ Styles as Universal Champion or US Champion, and Gallows and Anderson as Raw Tag Team Champions, if they are not in that storyline, and once again they're back in catering by the time the fall rolls around, I guarantee you they're going to be regretting signing those new deals, and we're going to get more reports coming out of Gallows and Anderson being unhappy. So I don't really know how I feel about that. I'm losing a little respect for Gallows and Anderson there. You know, there's only so much you can take, and I think that Gallows and Anderson are really going to regret that decision. My next report comes from Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer Radio. He said that regarding Kevin Owens' heel turn just a few months ago, said the only reason why Owens turned heel a few months ago was because WWE had no choice but to feud him with Kofi Kingston. He states, and I quote, "It's very clear that this is a babyface turn for Owens, who just turned heel a couple of months ago. I hate turns back and forth, but originally he was supposed to be a babyface. The heel turn was just a last-ditch effort because Daniel Bryan got hurt. And now that he's getting back to where they wanted him originally. End quote. Now, here's the deal. I'm not really sure how I feel about Kevin Owens as a babyface. I realized that Kevin Owens, he wanted to be a babyface, and there was a report coming around, I believe it was from Chasing Glory with Lillian Garcia, her podcast, and Kevin Owens was a guest, and he talked about how he always wanted to be a babyface. Now, I get that. I understand that. But with what's going on right now, you know, I don't really know. I'm iffy on that. With what's going on right now, is a babyface realistically the best role for Kevin Owens? Because WWE really needs to be careful here. Because WWE is already in a position where a lot of things on the shows are making people tune out. And a lot of things on the shows are giving them backlash. And you don't really want to add on top of that with a cringy Kevin Owens babyface turn. Now, I understand that the original plan, outside of Kofi Kingston, they had Kevin Owens in the books, and they had Mustafa Ali in the books. It was either going to be Mustafa or it was going to be Kevin that was going to get a push to the WWE Championship at WrestleMania 35. But then this overwhelming support came for Kofi, and they decided to go forth with that storyline. I'm not sure how I feel about this, but here's what I will say. Kevin Owens, he's very good at what he does. Kevin Owens is great at what he does. Kevin Owens has hit a home run with a lot of things that they have given him to do over the years, including his pairing with Chris Jericho, the Face of America role, heel roles, his pairing with Sami Zayn. Kevin Owens, his role in NXT, his feud with John Cena. Kevin Owens has hit a home run with almost everything that WWE has thrown at him. And we don't have many people like that. We don't have many people like Kevin Owens who can realistically work with anything that WWE gives him and turn it into something even semi-decent. Some of the things that he has done has been flat out awful, but for the most part, he's been able to work with a lot that WWE has offered him over the years, even if some of it hasn't necessarily been the best possible work. Again, you don't really find that in the modern professional wrestling world. So, I will say this. I am willing to give Kevin Owens a chance as a babyface, but if they're going to place him in a feud with Dolph Ziggler, at Extreme Rules, because that's what it looks like they're headed, that's the direction that it looks like they're headed in, that's really not going to do him any favors. Is it going to be a good match? Yeah, it's going to be a good match, but at the end of the day, is it really going to mean anything? No. Kevin Owens will get the win. I don't even know why Dolph Ziggler is still sticking around. I really don't. I thought that Dolph Ziggler would have been gone after Stomping Grounds, but apparently they're having him stick around going into the summer months of 2019. My final report. This is regarding the AJ Styles heel turn. Post Wrestling notes that the AJ Styles heel turn was not a spur-of-the-moment decision, and it wasn't part of Paul Heyman taking over. It was already planned. So this report only confirms it more that Heyman had nothing to do with what happened on Monday Night Raw. So shut your fucking mouths, you idiots. That's number one. Number two, this had to be done. An AJ Styles heel turn realistically had to be done. They needed a top heel on Monday Night Raw. I realize a lot of people are going to say Drew McIntyre, and yes, I would have said Drew McIntyre too. I want Drew McIntyre to be a top heel on Monday Night Raw. But with what they've been doing him, pretty much using him as a lackey for Shane and a punching bag for Roman Reigns, where is his mystique? He's pretty much becoming like the new Samoa Joe, where he talks a big game, and he talks a big game, and he talks a big game, and he loses. McIntyre hasn't won a singular match all year. McIntyre hasn't won one match all year. Lost at the Royal Rumble. Lost at Fastlane. Lost at WrestleMania. Lost at Money in the Bank. Lost at Stomping Grounds. Hell, he hasn't won a match. He hasn't won a pay-per-view match since Survivor Series of 2018. That was his last pay-per-view win. They've been booking McIntyre so fucking poorly, and they have killed all his momentum. When in reality, McIntyre, if he didn't win against Roman at WrestleMania, then he should have continued the feud with Roman, and he should have defeated Roman Reigns at Stomping Grounds. He should have faced Lesnar at Super Showdown, and he should have beaten Lesnar at Super Showdown. And then, of course, we got the issue with Money in the Bank. If he wasn't going to win Money in the Bank, then yeah, put him in a feud with Lesnar, have him beat Lesnar, have him beat Roman, and have him go into a Universal title program with Seth Rollins at SummerSlam. How hard is this? Seriously, how hard is this? How hard is it to book McIntyre and Rollins in a Universal title program at SummerSlam with both men looking like legit fucking competitors and McIntyre coming out victorious? The fact that McIntyre has not gotten a singular match for the Universal title right now is absolutely fucking criminal. They ruined him. They ruined him ever since December. Ever since December of 2018, McIntyre has been on nothing but a downward fucking spiral. A downward spiral. And it's downright fucking pathetic. Downright fucking pathetic and criminal. But this had to be done. This had to be done. AJ Styles, he needed a heel turn. He needed something of interest. This could possibly take AJ Styles into another match with Seth Rollins at SummerSlam, or it could possibly end in Styles defeating Ricochet and winning the United States title, even though I don't really want that, because I want Ricochet to have a lengthy U.S. title reign. I want Ricochet to hold that title possibly into Survivor Series. If you have Ricochet as U.S. champion going into Survivor Series, and you have someone like Finn or Andrade or Ali, Finn, Andrade, Ali, or Cruz. Think about that. You have Ricochet as U.S. champion going into Survivor Series for Raw vs. SmackDown. And then you have someone like Finn, Andrade, Ali, or Apollo Crews. Think of the matches. Think of the matches that you have on tap there if you keep Ricochet as United States champion. Now, I get that if you put Styles in there, you could get Styles versus Ali, or Cruz, or Andrade, or Finn, or whoever the IC champion is at that time. But Ricochet, as of right now, Ricochet needs a lengthy reign as U.S. champion. Ricochet needs to hold that championship for a long time. Ricochet needs to establish prestige as United States champion, and he needs to be put into a Universal title program going into the beginning months of 2020. You cannot hold Ricochet back from reaching his potential. You need to keep the title on him. Now, I'm happy for this heel turn. If it does lead to Styles winning the U.S. title and Gallows and Anderson winning the tag team titles, so be it. Do I think it's going to lead to that? No, I don't. Why? Because I just don't trust this company. I don't trust them. I really don't trust WWE to make something good. And even then, the heel turn was way too late. The heel turn was way too late. Yeah, it's interesting, and I'm interested to see where it goes because it makes for an interesting story between Styles and Ricochet, but realistically, it's too late. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up this edition of the Lightning Flash Update. I would like to thank each and every single one of you who tuned into this video. Do not forget to follow me on Instagram at @TheDJStorms. Do not forget to follow me on Twitter at ManOfInfamy. If you missed the rewind for Fyter Fest, link is in the description. Here's what I want you guys to do. I want you guys to hit that thumbs up. We're going to try and get this video to 15 likes. I also want you to leave a comment down below. Tell me what was your favorite show of the week. Tell me what you think about the news, rumors, and reports that I have for you this week. I also want you to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already done so. We're on the road to 1,300 subscribers and hopefully 1,500 by the time we reach SummerSlam. Hit that notifications bell with a huge coup de grace as well. That way you will know whenever I pop up on YouTube, because whenever I pop up on YouTube, it is the best time to be on YouTube. Also, a couple of announcements. On July 12th at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, I will be joining Earl Cole on the Wrestling Express Facebook page on Facebook Live to do a live preview and predictions show. A live preview and prediction show for Extreme Rules. That is with me and Earl Cole. That is going to be on July 12th, 2019, starting at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. And then, of course, I got the rundown for Extreme Rules the following day on Saturday, where it's just me. I also, next week's actually a busy week. I also got the rundown for Fight for the Fallen as well. I got Fight for the Fallen rundown. I got Extreme Rules rundown. I got the deal with Earl Cole. I'm planning on getting my tickets to Extreme Rules, and I will be in Philly for Extreme Rules. If something changes, I will be sure to notify you guys. But I'm planning on doing some fan interviews, so if you're interested and if you're going to Extreme Rules, please hit me up and we can do a fan interview. Why the hell not? And then, of course, I got the rewind for Fight for the Fallen and the rewind for Extreme Rules. I think I will have them both up by Monday, or I'll try and get Fight for the Fallen rewind up on Sunday, and then I'll try and get the rewind for Extreme Rules up on Monday. We'll see how that plays out. But till next time, I'm DJ Storms. This has been the Lightning Flash Update. I hope you have a great 4th of July weekend.